Ecuador is a country marked with great diversity. Quito, the capital, is located in the mountains, and Guayaquil, one of the largest cities in the world, is located along the coast. The citizens have a rich cultural heritage, as it is one of only 2 official plurinational states in the world. Visitors to these large cities can enjoy numerous tourist attractions, including El Panacillo, El Mitad del Mundo, Mount Pichincha, which gives a beautiful view of Quito below, the gorgeous beaches along the Pacific, beautiful cathedrals, museums, and much more. But there is more beauty in the country besides these areas. Recently, President Rafael Correa and the Ecuadorian government have recognized and given more rights to ethnic groups within the country, particularly Afro-Ecuadorians. Afro-Ecuadorians are a people who had in years past, as recently as the 1960s, been enslaved in haciendas. Today, many Afro-Ecuadorians have found their voice as more and more rights have been placed on their people. But structural racism is still large, as only a handful of Afro-Ecuadorians live in the larger cities of Ecuador. Our trip took us beyond Quito and Guayaquil, as we explored various areas of Ecuador, including mountainous Valle del Chota, humid Esmeraldas, and the stunning Ecuadorian coast, to get a clear picture of the culture of Afro-Ecuadorians. Our first trip took us just north of Quito to Valle del Chota, deep within the Andes Mountains near the town of Ibarra. There's a rich and vibrant culture within this large valley, where Afro-Ecuadorians have made their quiet living. Principally known for its development of agriculture and livestock, the area is still thriving under the pressures of a government that is still just now accepting the rights of Afro-Ecuadorian people. Large mountains and beautiful rivers dominate the area of Valle del Chota, and small villages are interspersed within the valley below. The first town we explored was Salinas, known for its salt mines. In this Afro-Ecuadorian town, making salt is one of the principal products. Here, we got a glimpse of the salt-making process.
Que va a tener es un color más oscuro de lo normal. Vamos a continuar, por favor. De igual manera, un paso de enterrado a las hormas de sal, cuando ya estaban realizadas, se las ponía bajo la tierra para que recuperaran su color. Entonces, por lo general, ya quedaban al final así, blancas. Sí, esta es una sal en polvo. Quedó en polvo y no está pasada al molino, por eso la podemos observar que contiene.
We next explored the village of Concepcion, a small and peaceful village in which its primary subsistence comes from farming various plants like peppers and peas.
¿Venden el ají?
Aquí sacan a Ibarra al mayorista. Pero aquí le falta todavía para la cosecha.
¿Aún no está cosechado todavía?
No.
¿Qué?
Ese es bravo. Este no hace nada.
¿Se lo puede morder nomás?
Sí.
A ver, muérdele ya.
As of right now, the isolated area of Valle del Chota is a haven for much of the Afro-Ecuadorian community within the country. Because of its isolation, community is a driving force here in Valle del Chota. For example, during our night stay in Concepcion, we experienced the evidence of a close community, as we encountered a little music festival in the center of town and were treated as special guests within the community. After visiting the village and enjoying its festivities, we got a little downtime to explore the Andes that many of the people of Valle del Chota enjoy.
Hi, Patrick Stroud here with Middle Earth News. We've reached the lake in front of the mines of Moria.
Kevin, you...
It's not a wall.
I know what that wall is.
Everything's a wall.
next traveled from Valle del Chota to the coast, first to Esmeraldas. Then we traveled south at various points before finally ending at Guayaquil. Before we head to Esmeraldas, I first want to highlight our travels to the south toward Guayaquil. On our travels to the south along the coast, we experienced many tourist attractions known to the Ecuadorian community, with beautiful and exotic scenery. We traveled to numerous places. One of our stops was the beach of Salinas, commonly called Ecuador's Miami. We also visited Puerto Lopez, a huge fishing port in Ecuador. There we visited what was known as Poor Man's Galapagos, in which we saw numerous birds of various species. We also got to swim with turtles and fish, and we got to see a number of whales. Suffice it to say, it was an adventure. We next visited a hippie town, surfer and tourist central, known for its waves and restaurants. Finally on our travels, we visited Guayaquil. We got to witness its beauty. Lizards in the park in front of one of the many cathedrals there. Galapagos turtles, and a historical area known for its lengthy steps, an area which still uses the tedious transport of Pilsner, the principal beer of Ecuador, up and down the site. These exotic tourist attractions were wonderful, but relatively few Afro-Ecuadorians were found. It took our trip north of Valle del Chota and into Esmeraldas to witness again the lives of Afro-Ecuadorians firsthand. In 1533, the first Afro-Ecuadorian population arrived by wrecked slave ships onto Ecuador. They eventually made their haven in Esmeraldas, where Alonso de Illescas became the first black person to unite indigenous and blacks against the Spaniards. Mulattoes, a mix of indigenous and African descent, established themselves to become Afro-Ecuadorians in the province of Esmeraldas. Many years later, the traditions of the region lives on, as about 70% of the Afro-Ecuadorian population lives in Esmeraldas.
La marimba es un baile exótico y tradicional. Ese sí se ha mantenido hasta la actualidad y es la forma como se expresa tanto en el movimiento como en sus rimas, como en las poemas que están dentro del baile, donde decimos y expresamos lo nuestro. La marimba va acompañada de coplas, de rimas, de canto, de poesía, y dentro de todo ella está netamente expresada nuestra cultura. Es la forma de expresar lo que somos, nuestra descendencia.
Las peticiones serán respondidas aquí en la comunidad. Les vamos a presentar el baile marimba, donde hoy por hoy, ya aquí en la provincia de Esmeralda y en la mayoría de los pueblos afrodescendientes, se está dando lo que es la marimba y el teatro, para que el joven y el adolescente vaya criándose con esa raíz nuestra, que es autóctona de aquí, de los negros, afro. Antes seamos los negros, ahora somos afrodescendientes. Con ustedes, muchas gracias, y los dejamos con el baile de marimba.
En el patio de mi casa, donde amarro tengo un marro colorado, donde amarro mi caballo porque estoy enamorado.
¡Ella es la comadre! Si quieres ser doctor, estudia para medicina. Si quieres ser mi novio, espera mi destino. ¡Ella es la comadre!
One of the major contributions of Afro-Ecuadorian culture to Ecuador is in its song and dance. They have taken on various roles within communities, and they are enjoyed everywhere within the country. The marimba and the bamba are a staple dance for Afro-Ecuadorians. It gives the Afro-Ecuadorian culture distinctiveness from the rest of society in Ecuador. In Esmeraldas, we visited an even smaller Afro-Ecuadorian town than those in Bahia del Chota. This small town was called Tundaloma, located right on the Pacific Ocean. These people were extremely happy to share their culture with us, as we got to experience playing soccer with the children. We were then taken to Muisne, an island village known for its fishing and crabbing, its primary source of economy. We spent 2 days and 2 extremely hot nights here. The island of Muisne is a poorer village, with a number of small houses built on stilts. Also on this island, there was only one hotel in town, and we were very fortunate to be guests there. However, the area was extremely humid and hot, with room temperatures reaching what much felt like an outdoor, wet sauna. According to one of the locals, the town was soon to have a new mayor who, by the aid of President Rafael Correa, would begin to rebuild the area. This demonstration by the president shows the increasing respect for Afro-Ecuadorians within the country. Later, we swept by the island of Muisne and were thrust into the jungle by boat. We explored the crabbing and fishing areas, where we received a lot of advice from the locals about how they caught fish and crabs using nets. We were introduced to some interesting plants and fruits, and we got some of the guys to try it on as face paint.
Entonces también le habían hecho un pene aquí en esta parte. Entonces me imagino que le ha de haber dicho, dibújame algo bonito, dibújame algo bonito. Entonces claro, el otro fue y le dibujó lo que le dio la gana.
Quiere un pene.
El que lanza tiene que soltarlo de la boca y soltarlo de la mano. Porque si llega a lanzarla fuerte y no suelta lo de la boca, puede perder uno de sus bellos dientes. Justo el proceso es este. Nada más, lo que tiene que hacer es esto. Lanzar, soltar y nada más. Abre la boca, abre la mano y listo. Todo.
De ley hay que agarrarlo con la boca.
Exacto. De ley hay que agarrarlo porque si no, no abre. Bueno, hay muchas personas que utilizan el hombro.
El hombro, acá nomás se lo ponen.
Pero esas personas se mojan todititas y en cambio por acá no, nosotros lo hacemos de esta manera. Suspenda la atarraya, eso. Pase la mano.
The struggles began when a local was trying to teach Larry how to throw the net or lay
Por
it.
debajo, así. Suelta. Así. Ya, a esa, póngala ahí, otra vez. No. Agarre esta mitad ahí, ahí. Suelte ahí y siga agarrando más acá. Ya, yo le ayudo, pero no suelte la de acá. Agárrela ahí, no la suelte. Ya, y coge otra mitad allí. Pero aquí mismo pone esta mitad, no. Suéltela. Ah, no, métala por aquí.
Cómelo. Finally.
Palme la mano y va abriendo así. Hasta llegar a una mitad. O le ayudo. Baje la mano, yo le ayudo. Suelta todo. Pero no le haga así porque se le va a colchar en el cuerpo. Entonces tiene que ser lentamente.
And don't forget to let go of the one that you have in your mouth.
Please don't forget that one.
Do forget that one.
No, he can
It's on film.
After great efforts, Larry was finally able to let it go.
Por ahí va.
Ah!
Afterward, much like in Concepcion, we enjoyed some late night festivities. The locals performed another form of the marimba, and we also got some crowd participation from our own students. Even the teachers got involved in the fun. At the end, we got various Afro-Ecuadorian treats, and we also got to watch Corbin arm wrestle with one of the locals before heading home to our humid and hot hotel.
Staying alive. Oh man.
Oh, that's not fair. You're like bending down.
This effectively ended our trip to Afro-Ecuadorian communities, and we flew back home from Quito after our travels along the coast. In closing, much of our time spent here in Ecuador was enlightening, exciting, hot, and very down-to-earth, as we came to experience a culture much different from our own. As I reflect back on our travels, I feel that one of the advantages of the Afro-Ecuadorian communities were its closeness and friendliness towards other people and people within its community. It shows in sharp contrast with those in larger cities like Quito and Guayaquil, cultures which seemed all too similar to the United States. In sum, we explored some amazing places. Ecuador is one of those countries that I could visit many times more because of its diversity and its sincere and caring people. Coming back into the United States made me thankful for being able to live where I do. And as more and more rights are given to Afro-Ecuadorians, I hope for an even brighter future for their people.
La daina senda si la quentum